Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States and was beloved by many. He signed the first of the Homestead Acts, allowing the poor to own land, led the Union to victory in the Civil War, and of course, signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which led to the abolishment of slavery. Sadly, on April 14, 1865, Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, leading to the presidency of Andrew Johnson. Today, however, we'll be looking at an alternate, less violent reality as we answer the question, what if Abraham Lincoln wasn't shot? As with any hypothetical question, nothing is certain. Change even a small event and all of history can be altered, and changing an event as significant as this would have significant implications. However, we can certainly make some educated guesses based on what we do know. First of all, there's a chance that he didn't have long to live anyway. Some believe that Lincoln suffered from multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2B, or MEN2B, based on his tall, lanky body, his asymmetrical face, large jaw, and the pseudo-depression he apparently experienced. MEN2B is a genetic disease that can cause multiple tumors throughout the body, particularly in the face. There are rather few cases of people with MEN2B living past their 30s, let alone their 50s. Considering Lincoln died at age 56, even if he hadn't been shot, it may be that he wouldn't have made it much longer anyway, and history would remain more or less the same. This, however, is not confirmed scientifically, and at this point is just speculation. So what would have happened if Lincoln did in fact live on? One significant difference would be the implementation of the Reconstruction. Lincoln had been working on a plan to rebuild the U.S. during and after the war, involving the willful acceptance of former slaves and the creation of governments in the South that would be beneficial to all. Unfortunately, Andrew Johnson wasn't quite as open-minded as Lincoln, often considered quite racist even for the time, and established governments in the South that gave little voice to the black members of the population, attempting to reduce the recently freed black people to a diminished position with the oppressive black codes. The radical Republican Congress was not at all in favor of Johnson's decisions, fighting him every step of the way. Unfortunately, the Republican Congress had quite radical views on how the Reconstruction should occur, wanting above all else to punish those involved in the Confederacy. However, Congress was eventually able to get past Johnson and win many victories for the rights of black people, including the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the 14th Amendment, and the Reconstruction Acts of 1867 and 68, which caused new governments to be formed in the South with the help of black voters. Johnson was later impeached and narrowly avoided conviction. Many historians believe that the stubbornness of Johnson and the radical Congress led to a failed Reconstruction. This brought about a significant amount of racial tension and bad feelings in the region for the following century, and as we recently saw in Charlottesville, this tension continues to affect us to this day. Nowadays, many scholars believe that if Lincoln had remained as president, he would have dealt with the situation much better than Johnson. Lincoln was at his highest following his re-election in 1864, both in terms of popularity and political power. He was in as good a position as any to unite the two sides of the country, being both loved by the people for his victory and a strong orator with excellent persuasion skills. Lincoln was much more open-minded and accepting of criticism than Andrew Johnson. He likely would have been more willing to work with Congress, not requiring them to go over his head. Many believe that Lincoln would have been able to swing the government and come up with an effective strategy that could bring the nation together. While he, like Johnson, would have been under significant pressure from Congress, his mental fortitude and popularity would give him much more ammunition when it came to dealing with Congress and coming to a strong compromise. This means that race relations would likely be better nowadays if Lincoln, not Johnson, had headed the Reconstruction. It should be noted that some historians have rather lofty and utopian beliefs about the extended Lincoln presidency, but most believe that race relations would be greatly improved. How would this affect the rest of the world? Well, for one, the racial harmony many believe could have been achieved may have served as a shining example for the rest of the world and reduce the tension in other Western countries as well. But what effects would this extended presidency have on Lincoln's legacy? Abraham Lincoln is celebrated as one of the greatest Americans of all time, often deemed the greatest president in U.S. history. But as Harvey Dent says, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's possible that Lincoln wouldn't have been able to live up to his incredible past and might have failed the American people should he have gone on as president. There's a good chance that he would have succeeded more than Johnson, but he may not have become the hero many see him as today. So now we return to our question, what if Abraham Lincoln wasn't shot? Well, assuming he didn't die of other reasons, the world could be a very different place. Race relations in the US could be significantly better, which could lead to better relations worldwide. Lincoln would have had more time to change the country, but he also would have more time to ruin the public's perception of him. While it's difficult to say what exactly would have happened in the 150 years since, it's certainly interesting to think about. Thank you for watching Life's Biggest Questions. I hope this video has been interesting and informative, and and perhaps inspired you to look into it further on your own. If you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up and subscribe to the channel down below. While you're down there, let us know how you think the world would be different if Lincoln hadn't been shot. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie with Life's Biggest Questions, wishing you the best of luck on your quest for answers.